Streaming cyberspace into your place, sanctioned by the Red Line Racing League from Stafford Motor Speedway. It's the Virtual Gift Network's live as it happens penultimate round coverage of the Skitter Creek SK Modified Series Season 14. And how about that new music intro? Gotta love it. This is the 14th time the Red Light Racing Gang has brought the Modifieds to Stafford. It's really no surprise that current point leader Eric Teapot Stout leads all drivers in career Stafford wins. He's got 3 of them. The only other active driver with a career win here at Stafford is Chad Alcaraz. Now, Alcaraz is currently 4th in the points and has won twice already this season. He might be a driver to watch tonight. If you're looking towards the future, while Stout still has a firm grip on the RLR torch, if it is to be passed to anyone, it might be the driver known as Kid Lemon Lime, Luke Logan Allen. The young Mr. Allen has a win this season, but his part-time status has him sitting outside the top 10 point-wise. Though a very young vintage, there's no limit to Allen's topside once he's allowed to ferment a little bit. So pull the lever on the lazy boy and settle in for the excitement. That is the simulated short track racing action that's about to stream your way. Hey, how about a warm Nutmeg State hello and welcome on this Thursday night, October 2nd, 2025. Once again, I am joined by the institution, J.R. Shepard. I am Bill Soupson, and we are both high up in the VGN broadcast booth to bring you our Words Eye View. Replay Ryan Seneker, turning the knobs and pushing the sliders. All right, partner. What can you tell the viewers about this place?
Well, Soup, this place, it's one of my favorite tracks on the iRacing service just because it is challenging and it's a place where a driver can make a big difference. And on top of that, this car and track combination are great together. These modifieds, we know they're momentum race cars, and the name of the game tonight will be carrying that momentum through these long, flat corners. The good news is that there's more than one way to get that done at this place. Some drivers, they're going to like to hug that line all the way on the bottom, all the way through the corners, while other drivers, they're going to want to do more of a diamond line, entering low, allow that car to move up in the center, then back low on exit to come off straight and be able to apply that throttle. And it's those variations in the racing line that are going to open up some passing opportunities here, but it might also lead to some contact. We've seen that a lot here in the past. So, Soup, these drivers will have to stay focused and aware of what is happening around them tonight if they want any chance to win here at Stafford.
You know, with the points pretty much locked off, at least for the championship, the drivers can race with maybe a little more reckless abandon, knowing that it's not really going to affect who wins the trophy. Let's bring up the points right now, and you'll notice that there is a tight race, though, when you look at the drivers 2 through, let's say, I would say about 7th there. You see Eric Stout dominating this thing. He's got his 5 wins. We don't need to talk a whole bunch more about him. He's going to pick up his 3rd Red Light Racing League Outlaw Championship. Now, the rookie Ethan Troutman's been very competitive. He sits in 2nd. Former champion of Season 12 is Jeff Aho. He's sitting back there a few points back. We talked about Chad Alcaraz. He's the only driver in the field tonight with a win here at Stafford. Watch out for him to be very competitive. Rookie Bill Benedict is our 2nd fastest in that class behind Troutman. Always there, Fred Leclerc, having a tougher time of it. He's tied there with Benedict. Josh Buckley has been more competitive than we've seen him in the last few seasons, and he sits out there in 7th. But look how close he is to Vulture in points. He could move maybe all the way up, maybe get all the way up to 3rd if things work the right way for him. But Rob Higgins has been very quiet. He sits back there in 7th. Another rookie, Devin Visna, sitting in 9th position. He's going to be really good. And then, of course, the veteran Vlad Rigstep. We've talked a lot about him. Notorious for finishing in 2nd. Would love to get a win. There you have it. Not a whole lot to race for tonight. Bragging rights, trophy hunting, and maybe a little bit of momentum for next season. Glad you were with us. This one and then one more before we crown ourselves a champion. Nice full crowd here tonight. Good night to go racing. Regular fare is the routine. They get 1 set of tires they can go in and pick up if they'd like to. Not sure how far we're racing tonight. I believe it's 125. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody will whisper in my head how many laps we are actually racing. Nobody knows. We'll find out when the graphic comes up. We love doing Red Light Racing League, so the more laps, the better. That's what I have to say. You don't have a whole lot of time to get to the refrigerator for a snack because qualifying is just about done. Got a nice full field here of 20. And of course, when we call out this grid, there's no better place for information about short track racing in Connecticut than our grid sponsor, racedaycd.com. Check them out. No matter where you are, you're only a click away from finding out about what's going on in short track racing. We love the guys at racedaycd.com. Thanks for them. They've been with us for so long, and so many times I forget to talk about them, but they are a great sponsor. Glad they are with us. Hope they stay with us, even though I forget about them from time to time. With that said, enough rambling for me. Let's get to the business of calling out the grid. Hey! It is the former champ, Jeff Aho, sitting on the pole. He's going to be flanked by the reigning and two-time champ on his way to a third, Eric Teapot Stout. Partner?
Yeah, rolling off in third, second place in points, Ethan Troutman, and on the outside in fourth place, Patrick Stout, two-time winner this season.
A pair of rookies down there in that second row. Veteran Brian Bianchi is going to be in fifth position. He's inside of, hey, good to see Rex Hoyle back racing with us.
Inside row 4, we got Bradley Steffen, and on the outside, Chad Alcaraz.
Having one of the best seasons we've seen here from him on the Virtual Grip Network. Josh Buckley in ninth. He's flanked by always there, Fred Leclerc.
Yep, new driver this season, rolling off in 11th, Devin Visnaw, and in 12th place, Luke Logan Allen.
Rookie Bill Benedict won the season opener. Haven't heard much from him lately. He's racing in the Baker's Dozen spot. He's going to be flanked by Papa Kenny Allen.
Inside row 8, we got Chris Oliver, and outside 16th, Brian Neff.
Doyle Orland's in the 17th position. The 18th is filled by Double Deuce Bruce Pearson.
Rolling off in 19th tonight, we've got Bob Higgins, and 20th, last on the grid, will be Chris Hazlett.
It's the Lipper in the back, and it's Aho up in front. That's your 20 cars, 18 in between them. Everyone hoping to have a good race here as the season runs down. Glad you are with us. Pair of champions on the front row. No, let me correct myself. Yes, I'm correct on that with Aho and Stout. We'll see which prevails here early on, the inside line or the outside line. They have to wait. They don't get to go. They got to wait for the flagman. Look at how tight they are right now. Stout and Aho right next to each other. And gather up the chickens, egg cover on the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And it is indeed the season 12 champion, Jeff Aho, leading the Stampede down in the first corner, gets a good drive off of 2, picks up about a half car length on Stout. Stout stuck to the outside. Stout takes it in really deep through 3 and 4, but then he loses momentum. That's going to cost him the position. Aho gets the lead. Stout's going to tuck into second. There's a battle a little farther back. That is Troutman on the inside. Oh, we got ourselves a spinner.
Yeah, we got Rex Hoyle and Brad Steffen going around, coming off of turn 4. I believe Hoyle got a little bit loose on that outside. We'll get a replay here, and he is on the outside lane as they go through turns 3 and 4. And yeah, just got a little bit too high with the cold tires. Applying that throttle, the rear end came around, and he collected himself and Steffen there. And this is one of those tracks where the caution won't come out if you spin to the inside.
Off into the Connecticut alfalfa. There was no danger to the racing, so everything stays under green. That's going to cost those two drivers a lot of mileage there. So they're going to lose a lot of time to the leaders. Right now, it is Aho Stout. Sitting down in third position comfortably is Ethan Troutman, a rookie. Fourth and fifth is Brian Bianchi, and another rookie, Patrick Stout. That's the younger and more handsome of the Stout brothers.
And Soup, you can see right now, pretty much this entire field is single file. They're all fighting to get down into that inside lane. That's where all the grip is. Now, when you're side by side, you can make the outside work, but it's not the preferred lane. That's why everybody is single file right now. We can see Eric Stout. He's already looking to take that lead. Taking
a peek. Gets to the inside, gets a good drive out of 2. He's got a little hokey doke, a little up and under, a hucklebuck there for the 21 of the 21 of Aho, but it does not work.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if Jeff was really expecting to be pushed that hard this early, because I believe Jeff's got plenty of speed, and I think he was taking care of his tires, because this is a place where you can kind of back up the field. You don't have to be the fastest car in order to lead that train. But Eric caught him making a mistake or sleeping just a little bit there, and Eric capitalized on it, was able to get that run up off of turn 4.
Real quickly, let's check in on the 2 drivers that had that spin. Rex Hoyle still on the lead lap. racing in 18th position right now. 19th is Bradley Steffen. He got it back out on the pavement, still on the lead lap of the 19 drivers that took the grid. I don't believe the Lipper actually gridded up here tonight. We just had 19 go.
Yeah, and you can look up front. So one of the things I was looking for is to see if Eric Stout, as he took that lead, if he was able to start to pull away. But right now, he's not really doing that. Jeff Ahu's been able to stay with him, as well as the three drivers behind him. We see Josh Buckley, off of turn 4 getting really loose. These drivers, they're going to have to battle the handling in these cars tonight. These cars, they're going to be a little bit tight on corner entry, but from the center of the corner off, as they apply that throttle, the rear end will kick out, and it is a hot, slick track out there today.
Look up to the upper left of your screen and that little yellow box there, unless it's green. I don't know what color it is. It is green. 100 laps is how far we're going here tonight. Let's look at the 14. This is Brian Bianchi. He is working on Patrick Stout.
Yeah, you can see from those cars on the screen here the differing racing lines, and it's very small differences that you will see. You'll see that Stout, he takes a later entry, hits that bottom, and then kind of does a little bit of a diamond line, where you're seeing Bianchi, he will actually try to roll all the way around the bottom, actually getting those left side tires down. And as I say that, the two swap what they're doing as they go through 1 and 2. That time, Bianchi actually did the diamond line. But there are variations that you can run here to try to make up time on your competitors. The problem is when you've got a driver too close to you, if Buckley gets any closer, that's going to limit what the 14 is able to do.
We ride on board with Buckley right now. Let's turn that camera around and look out the back real quick, Director, because 2 cars back is a man who's on the move. He's right behind that one. That is Luke Logan Allen. He's currently racing in 8th position. He is our big mover up 4 spots. He's got Fred Leclerc and then Josh Buckley.
Yeah, and he's sporting a cool paint scheme. I like what he's done with that car. It really pops, really stands out. It's easy to see.
Hard to miss that one. We talked about him in the beginning. We have done some research. The poor kid goes to school and they won't let him go outside. I'm starting a GoFundMe campaign to see if we can find some type of outside lunch facilities for Kid Lemon Lime. All this going on behind Eric Stout.
Yeah, and everybody is single file at this point. There's going to be a lot of riding. That's what you get at a track like Stafford, because you are going to heat up those tires. The handling characteristics, they will change throughout this race. Drivers are going to ride for a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean that they're just pacing around out there. They are still having to run at speed. If they make a mistake, the drivers around them will capitalize. But they are trying to conserve those tires a little bit. And you can see how close this entire field is. But up front, first and second place, they're starting to open up a little bit of a gap to the rest of the field, which could come into play later on. We're not sure how hard Eric Stout and Jeff Aho are running right now.
It was Mark Twain who said, "The reports of my death have been grossly exaggerated." Welcome to the race, Chris Haislip. Got a late start. He's now 13 laps down, but the Lipper is out there. You can see him being lapped right now. Going underneath him is the younger of the Stout boys. There goes Bianchi. Good job. Good to see the Lipper with us. We have a full 20 here today.
Yeah, and I think that's just something that viewers at home or someone that's new to iRacing needs to understand. Like, yeah, Chris started this race laps down, but there's a reason to get out there. Every time you can get laps on a track in race conditions, that is valuable experience that you can use moving forward, especially as we're at the end of this season. You can move that into next season to your benefit.
He was at practice, must have had a connection problem and had late getting back in, but Chris, he just likes to race. He doesn't care how many laps he's down. Hey, look at this battle for third. My goodness, this is Patrick Stout looking all over Ethan Troutman, a pair of rookies going at it.
Yeah, I spoke about the top 2 pulling away, and that's exactly what this has done. It's got the drivers behind Ethan a little bit anxious. They see those leaders starting to pull away, and they don't want those leaders to get too far out there, because it will be hard to make up that ground at the end, even with fresher tires. So yeah, they're starting to put pressure on Ethan, In return, we're going to have to see if he's able to pick that pace up. Maybe he's been saving a little bit, but he's going to have to pick it up if he doesn't want to get past.
And if you've watched enough of racing here on the Virtual Grip Network, you can get a feel for the race. When they start to get single file like this, going green the whole way is not out of the question. And I can see right now that young Patrick is seeing his brother pulling away from him, and he's got to see he can get around Troutman. Back there also chasing, that's Bianchi and Buckley. They seem to be very quick. Losing a little bit of touch with them is always there Fred Leclerc. And continuing his drive forward, Luke Logan Allen now. But now he's under attack from Chad Alcaraz. I told you Alcaraz was good. The only driver here with a career win at Stafford, to his credit, in a modified. Racing right now in 8th.
Yeah, and Chad, we've seen him have some good qualifying runs, but a lot of the times he doesn't start up front, but he's able to come through the field. He's one of those drivers that you have to watch each and every week because he knows how to race. He knows how to make passes, and he's done it many times this season in the Red Light Racing League. So I fully expect to see him continue to make that charge forward.
All right, we've been jumping you around a lot, but the battle to really watch is between Troutman and Patrick Stout for 3rd position. Stout is trying everything he can. He's getting right up, getting the net bar right into the exhaust pipe of the 26, but still cannot get it done.
Yeah, and so this is one of the toughest tracks to make a pass in a momentum-style race car like these SK Modifieds. It is difficult, but you have to move around. You have to do something different than that driver ahead of you, and ultimately you've got to get back to that throttle before the driver ahead of you and be able to lay that throttle down more than what they are in order to get a run, because that's where the passes are generated, coming out of the corners.
JR, what's more fun for you to drive, the momentum car or one with a little more horsepower where you can let your manly instincts out? It seems like there's so much more finesse that you have to use when you're driving one of these cars that are a little more underpowered.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always enjoyed, we watch on screen, Patrick almost got a run there, but I've always enjoyed the momentum style race cars because it's the smallest things that make a big difference. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to be super finesse, both on the throttle, on the brake, and with your steering. Any abrupt movement in that steering is going to slow you down. And it's a challenge. It's hard to do, and I really like this style of racing.
Is there a price right now that Patrick Stout is paying tire-wise, working so hard behind the 26? Also, is there like an aero push? They can't be going fast enough for an aero push to be an issue.
You know, it's weird, and I think a lot of it has to do with temperature more than anything. We see Alcaraz, he's starting to make a pass back there on Luke Logan Allen. They've been going side by side for a little bit. But when you're running behind another car at a track like this, lap after lap, the car will start to get a little bit tighter. And I think more than anything, it's because you're not getting the air to that right front. These are open wheel cars. They expect to have that air. And we see Patrick Stout now on the inside of Ethan here. Be interested to see if he can make that pass, because if he does, Ethan doesn't have anywhere to go to get down.
Boy, he sure does not. We can report that Luke Logan Allen does lose that spot, so he falls back and Alcaraz picks up one spot. We'll stay on this battle for 3rd. Interesting, JR. That's why I love having you here. It's not so much the aerodynamics that cause the car to push, as maybe just not getting the temperature to the going in the wall. Boy, he said he didn't have anywhere to go, and that's where he went.
Oh, he's going around. Patrick is going around in turn 1. Bianchi got into him a little bit, and that's going to cause a big stack up. Buckley's going to be the big loser in that because he had nowhere to go, and he's going to lose several positions having to come to a stop there.
This is going to have to be a replay we watch from well back, because Stout lost momentum, and that opened the door to Bianchi. Bianchi looks to get in there. Buckley gets caught up in it. So there you see Troutman getting in the wall. Now he's out of the picture. Now here comes Bianchi.
Yeah, and it's a little bit odd. You know, it all started with the off.
Good to welcome us back there. Sorry we went off the air there for a little bit. It's good to be back with you. We are under caution. You saw the caution on our broadcast before we lost connection. Oh, now I'm hearing that the picture was there. It was just you were fortunate enough that you didn't hear us. Now we're back. All right, we are working lap number 39. Thank you. And we double up. Well, JR, Bianchi came down, took pit tires. I don't know if he took tires. Ken Allen came down, about half the field did. Their stops were about 12 seconds. There's one for 24 from Ethan Troutman. That might have took tires.
Yeah, definitely. Not a bad time to at least get 2 tires, side tires, and, somebody might have gambled and took all 4, but definitely not a bad time, close to halfway here.
Makes no sense to come down into pit lane. They have enough fuel to finish the race. There's no reason to come in unless you do take tires. So it's a question of 2 and 4, and we think that possibly the 24-second stop for Troutman might have been for 4 tires. All right, out in front, driving away is Eric Stout. Little brother Patrick now working the inside. Remember, he was involved in that incident. He comes away clean. Aho drops to 3rd. There he is. We talked about him in the opening. Kid Lemon Lime, Luke Logan Allen. You can't miss the number 6. Oh, my goodness. Put on your sunglasses.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, we see a lot of drivers getting awful wide off of turn 4, but yeah, Luke is definitely going to make this pass through turns 1 and 2 right now. Aho, he's trying to find a way down. He might just get that hole here.
Luke Logan now into 3rd.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, we talked about the drivers that came down and took some tires on that last stop. It's interesting and to see who may have taken fuel. And the reason why I say that, it takes a long time to fuel these cars, so it's not great to do anyway. But if you take fuel, you're keeping rear weight in the car. That will make that car freer. It'll be able to turn and rotate. But I've seen a lot of drivers getting loose from the center off, so the fact that you don't take fuel but you have fresher tires on the car, that could be a big handling advantage, especially from the center of the corner off. Could help you make passes in this race.
Oh, that is interesting. We've got a driver off. Is this the 7? Lowran's having a bit of a excursion. No caution.
Oh, we see Bianchi. He's on the inside there of Bruce Pearson. They made some slight contact to the center of 1 and 2, and it gets extremely difficult, especially as you get further into the runs here. You get tight when you're that inside car, and of course the outside car is trying to stay as low as possible because that's where the grip is, and a lot of times you get that side-by-side action, but these modifieds, they can withstand that kind of movement.
We mentioned Pearson racing probably a little bit further up in the standings than he would used to there. He picked up a lot as he vultured through that incident. Now starting to pay, losing them back. Oh my goodness, here's the 54. Looking to the inside. Is he going to turn him? He does. Rex Hoyle spins off. Also going off is Bill Benedict. I think they spin off. No caution, right?
No, there was no caution for a long time, but it finally came out. That had me worried with the leaders quickly approaching, but the caution is out, and there were a lot of drivers involved in that one. That was a wreck that kind of started in the middle of the corner and didn't finish until the backstretch.
Yeah, we're thinking they spun off out of the way, but they did not. It gathered up a lot of guys. A lot of checking up.
Yeah, on the replay here, Rex Hoyle, I think traditionally in this series, he's one of those drivers that can run the apron. He's able to make that car rotate and keep it on the apron. He got to the inside of the 90, but I don't think the 90 felt like there was enough room for him there. Ultimately, the two come together. The problem was the checkup right behind them with Fred Leclerc and Ken Allen. That checkup actually led to bigger contact, and the rest of the field coming in there. We see Brian Neff getting some really late contact there, trying to get slowed down.
All right, the cars are tough. There are no fast repairs, but I don't think it's going to cost anybody their Thursday night of racing. Looking for a taker in pit lane. Bradley Steffen came in. Ethan Troutman probably in one more time. Ken Allen in one more time. Well, they were involved in that incident. Eric Stout stays out. Patrick Stout stays out. First car that made a stop is Brian Bianchi in 7th. He's been out there for 12 laps on that rubber.
Yeah, and those drivers that came down pit road more than likely are trying to inspect the damage that they have and just how bad it is. The one thing, you know, like you said, with the contact that we saw, there was nothing crazy that would be race ending. But the one thing that you don't want to have happen is that steering wheel to be cocked at a different angle than what it was when you started the race. If it is, it's going to make it more difficult to get to the finish because the car will more than likely be towed out a little bit and it's going to push heavily through the center of the corners. And if it does that, you're just not going to be able to make any passes. It's going to be a long rest of the race for you.
They're doubling up right now. Driver to watch. Keep an eye on Brian Bianchi. You got a little fresher rubber out there in car number 14. We're going green, working just over the halfway mark, lap number 52. It's Stout on the inside, Stout on the outside with Kid Lemon Lime making a move. The number 6 has second position and looking for more. Gives the old man. I talked about the passing of the torch. You may be looking at it right here. Eric Stout, both hands gripping that torch. The kid coming up saying, would you mind? Can I get my little bit of that? Not yet, kid.
Yeah, and I can tell you one thing. Anytime you've got Luke behind you on a restart, you better be ready to go because he's able to find some crazy speed right after the restart. And I think a lot of drivers underestimate just how fast he's going to be because he was able to pounce there and he made up a lot of ground, almost had that lead. I mean, that was a good run for him. If he'd had just a little bit of more room through turns 1 and 2, he might have been able to get to the inside of Eric.
It's because he's so young. There's not a lot of body weight there to slow the car down, so it has a little more pickup because it's a little bit lighter. Joshua Buckley now has worked his way up into 3rd. Oh, look at this. Some in the wall. My goodness, they keep it going straight. Patrick Stout stuck on the outside. I told you that Bianchi was the car to watch. He's coming.
Yeah, he definitely is. And, you know, we saw the 14 and the 24 have that contact on the front stretch earlier. Brian's been able to make up that ground, and a lot of it's got to do with how these cautions have played out along with the tires that he took. So he is moving forward. He was fast already in this race, and I think he's got a big advantage as we have the last 40-something laps in this race to go.
We talked about the future, and it's Kid Lemon Lime number 6. Let's talk about the past. Any viewer of VGN or any of the sim racing broadcast networks that have been covering iRacing for a long time, they know the name Brian Neff. How about Brian Neff? Up all the way to 6. Nice job. 10 spots. Looking to pick up some more. Oh, here comes Buckley now. Gets to the inside. Luke Logan stuck on the outside. He's going to lose the spot. And Bianchi keeps coming.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got tons of grip. He's just able to hold the car through the corner where he needs it to be, especially on corner exit, and that's what's allowing him to make these passes pretty easily. Once he gets clear here, we see Buckley already starting to pull away a little bit. It'll be interesting to see just how quickly Brian can close up and then make that pass on Buckley for second place.
Kid Lemon Lime found a little bit of the wall, come out of 4, lost another position there. Now he settles down. Neff right behind him. Jeff Aho fallen all the way back to 7th position.
Yeah, and we're back single file. This is what all the drivers were beating and banging and, you know, bumping each other around for this. We do see Bradley Steffen on the inside of Oliver there. He's making a pass, as well as Alcaraz trying to set up a pass on Benedict. We see a couple of cars getting the wall off of turn 4. I believe that was Chris Oliver.
It was Oliver Gotti's going to lose another spot, then getting underneath him is the 23 of rookie Devin Visna. They continue to race. Now everybody's single file. Let's take a peek at Neff. Neff looking underneath Kid Lemon Lime, Luke Logan Allen. After he put it in the wall, beginning to fall a little bit. Remember, he made that great charge through. May have burned up his stuff doing it. Neff drifts up into him. They leave each other enough room. I'm a little bit worried how this one's going to play out.
Yeah, and that's always a very vulnerable position to be in, where Luke is on the outside entering turn 3. Turn 3, you can go in with so much speed, but the car either gets loose or it pushes up as you enter from that low line. And yeah, it worked out for him, but that is always an anxious position to be in when you're that outside car, because you just don't know how much room you're going to be given.
It's always a little bit nerve-wracking to be on the outside, and when you have the number 60 to the inside, makes it maybe a little more tense. The 21 now of Jeff Aho trying to get underneath Luke Logan Allen. He is stuck out there. They are coming, kid. There's no room. Fred Leclerc's not going to let you in. Rex Hoyle, he's not going to let you in.
Yeah, and it's one of those moments where if you're Luke, you've just got to stay calm, because you cannot force the issue. If you do, you're going to get some contact and potentially ruin your night. So you just got to be patient, let people go by you as they do. Once you get an opening, get down. And at this point, Luke's just hoping that some caution comes out where he can get some kind of advantage. But right there, you saw he entered high. There are marbles up on the top side there, and you can see how much ground he lost. There's absolutely no grip if you get your right side tires in those marbles.
And the only good news is Papa Kenny Allen is back in 19th position, so at least he didn't lose a spot to Dad.
We're looking back up front here at Buckley and Bianchi and then Patrick Stout. I'm a little bit surprised that Brian's not been able to make this pass. So, and this is something that we've seen in the modifieds in the past. Those fresh tires, they make you feel like Superman until your tire temps come up to the same temperature as those drivers around you. Once your temperatures equalize, you end up not having the advantage. And I think that's kind of the point that we're at right now, Sue. Brian just does not have the cooler temperatures to keep that car rotating.
He made quick work of it when we went to green. He picked him up, boom, 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 and then got up to third. And that's, well, I think he's getting a little taste of kryptonite here.
And, you know, the other thing that comes into play here, and I'm not sure it is, because if I had the tires, I would probably be trying to use them up. But we know we have double file restarts, and this is definitely a track where you want to be on the inside if a caution comes out. There might be a little bit of games playing there. Maybe Brian's got a magic lap number to where he'll, you know, apply the throttle and get going. But I've seen drivers do this in the past. If a caution comes out, you want to be on that inside line. Otherwise, you're going to the back.
We always like to acknowledge the drivers who are making the biggest charge through the field. And right now, it is the Winn-Dixie 60 of Brian Neff, up 11 spots. He's got Patrick Stout in front of him. But kind of interesting, JR. There's been guys up Stout, but younger Stout. Patrick was racing up with his brother. Now he's falling as he loses another spot to Neff. It's kind of hard for me to get a feel of who's really got the car to beat, other than maybe Teapot.
Yeah, this is always kind of an interesting race because, you know, at 100 laps, when you have a hot track surface like we do here tonight, you will see drivers that will come and go through the field. And what we saw early in the race, once we got to halfway, it looks like some of that's flip-flop. Like you said, Patrick Stout was one of the fast drivers. Now he's kind of starting to fall through the field, and that's just common to this style of racing, this racetrack, because if you over-abuse those tires, you will pay for it late in the run. And you're not going to be super slow, but you're going to be slowing up drivers around you that have taken care of their tires. They're going to be able to pass you.
I'm saying right now, with about 22 to go, if a caution were to come out, Brian Neff looks pretty darn strong. He just made quick work and is leaving Patrick Stout behind. Jeff Aho has nothing for them. So the guy on the move seems to be the 60. And then what you said, Bianchi. It's hard to tell what Bianchi is doing as he's behind Joshua Buckley. I got a hunch the 14 is going to be a little more aggressive here pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's starting to ramp up. You can kind of see the movement between Buckley and Bianchi there as they were coming out of the corner. It's because Brian's trying to set Josh up. Josh knows it's coming. He's trying to do the best line that you can run to try to avoid getting passed up off the corner. And we see Benedict, he's had a little bit of an off-track excursion, so he's going to fall to the tail end of this field.
It did not take long. Let's look at drivers 2, 3, and 4 right now. Neff got him. Just ran him down. So that either means I got a hunch that Bianchi is quicker than Buckley right now, just trying to find a way around. Once the 13 gets pushed to the outside, I think he's going to fall.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and that was the thing. Like, we saw Neff charging through the field. We knew that he had taken tires. We knew Brian had as well. We were kind of, wondering why Brian wasn't continuing to move forward. I speculated it maybe because he was in third place in case a caution came out, but at this point, Brian Neff is behind you. He's going to push 100% throughout the rest of this race. He's going to try to make that pass. So if you've got any speed left in the car, you've got to use it now.
Bianchi's pit stop in the box was 12 and a half seconds. Neff's was 24 and a half seconds. They don't have a number. They don't have a way of telling if they took 2 or 4. But to me, that means that Neff has 4 newer tires on there.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And, traditionally this is a place where that left side, the tires don't wear anywhere near what the right side does because we're on a flat surface. All of the load is in that right front and right rear as we're coming out of the corner. So those are the tires that typically wear, and you can usually get by with just those 2 tires, but any percentage of wear on that inside can help you. So as we're getting late into this run, we saw Neff, I think, making some contact there. He's looking to move forward.
Well, it's got to be frustrating for both Bianchi and Neff, who are clearly faster than Buckley. Meanwhile, Stout has a nice gap up there. It's going to take a caution. That's something that Teapot does not want. He's got this race wrapped up like King Tut if it stays green, but I'm afraid if a yellow were to come out, Buckley would be pushed to the outside. My partner talked about Bianchi having the inside of row 2. That would be certainly a second position. Then he'd be able to get behind Stout, give him some trouble. And then there's Neff, who's really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been going back and forth. You see them get a run on each other, and then they'll have to check up in order to avoid some contact. But eventually the drivers are going to get a little frustrated. The laps are winding down. They know they have to make something happen. And usually that's where we start to see the big contact happen. Not intentionally, but drivers know they've got to go. If you feel like you're faster than that car in front of you, you're trying to make something happen, and that's usually when the contact will occur.
Take this for what it's worth, viewers, but Josh Buckley is the series organizer. So I'm just saying, if it comes to up and running somebody, probably the last guy you want to do it to is the guy who organizes the series. Of course, that would... Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Soup. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, that would never come into the minds of these guys.
Right. As we're watching on board, Brian, the 14 of Brian Bianchi, he's starting to run lower and lower on the track through turns 1 and 2. We saw him getting on the apron. He's trying to really make something happen. So at this point, I think he does not have that grip that he had at the beginning of the run. It's already gone away. And I think, again, some of it was strategy. He thought running in third place was a great place to be. But we talked about it very early in the broadcast. Running behind somebody can overheat that right front tire, and maybe that's what he's ran into. He just does not have that rotation to the center of the corner. Having said that, we saw Buckley get a little bit loose in turn 3 and 4. That gave Brian a chance for a run, but I think Josh was able to hold him off here.
Oh, Bianchi looked to the inside. That didn't work. Then he goes to the outside. Gives him a hello. One more hello. There's an hello. He's had just about enough of granny hips. He loses momentum, and that's going to allow Neff to roll around the top. Bianchi says no. They get together. Neff goes around. Aho's going to try for no. That's Patrick Stout who straightens them out.
Yeah, these drivers are just drifting out there, Soup. There's no caution. They tried to wreck each other, it looked like, multiple times, and they keep it going. So there's a lot of skill with what we just saw, but there's going to be contact between Alcaraz and Bisnall through turns 3 and 4.
And there's the caution that Eric Stout did not want.
We did a replay here. Bisnall had a big run down the back straightaway, and he dove into turn 3. And like we talked about earlier when we were talking about Luke Logan being on the outside, it's very easy for that inside driver to push up because turn 3, in my opinion, is very deceiving. You can drive in so deep into that corner, but if you overstep it, this is what will happen. That inside car will push up. It's hard for that outside car to judge exactly where that inside car is going to land. And if they land in your lap like that, this is what you typically see. You see the contact that leads to both cars, going into that outside wall.
Don't know if we have the ability to dial up Brian Bianchi. We'll see if we can. If we do, I'd love to talk to him and see what he has to think. Brian, it's Soup up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha.
All right, you couldn't get around Buckley, but now you got him to the outside. You have fresher tires than the guys in front of you. I think you got a good shot. What do you think?
I think we got a shot. I think I'll get Buckley out the restart and maybe have a lap or two to get Stout, but we'll see.
All right, same bump one that you tried there on Buckley. Don't be hesitant to use it on Stout. There'll be no tears shed if he gets turned, baby.
Yeah, I'd like not to wreck him, but I'm not afraid to put the bumper to him.
Go get him.
Thanks, guys.
I don't mean to stir the pot, but it's always fun to stir the pot.
Yeah, this is a moment right now where all the drivers, they're getting a chance to relax, but they're also getting the opportunity to kind of think about how this restart is going to play out. And if you're one of the drivers that's in the outside lane, you're trying to figure out how you're going to get down quickly because you've worked so hard to get the position that you have currently, especially if you're one of these drivers up front, and now you're in that unpreferred outside lane where you could lose a lot of spots. So I think we're going to see some contact made because those drivers are trying to hold on, and we do know that this league, they have 3 attempts at a green-white checker that could come into play here.
So help me out on this real quick. We're doing lap number 97 right now. It'll be 98 when you go green. This is regulation, not green-white checker, right?
Correct. Yep. We are not in green-white checker territory yet.
All right, here we go. Eric Stout on the inside, Buckley on the outside. Look at the good jump that Buckley gets. The 13 is going to pin the 12 down in there. Now the 14, you have the 12, 13, and 14 all fighting for positions. The 71 is always there. Fred Leclerc, and he's there now. Oh, Bianchi cannot get Buckley early like he wanted. Now he gets underneath them. He's going to lose momentum. Oh, they bang. Leclerc goes to the outside wall. That's going to bring out a caution.
Oh, big caution. We saw Leclerc kind of got bumped, and then immediately the car took a hard right into the outside wall. Jeff Aho was collected in that. We saw Ken Allen. I think he just had to come to a stop. But I think the biggest loser, that's going to be Rex Oil. He looked like he had right front suspension damage for sure with that hard contact. Get a replay here. Bianchi was trying to get to the inside of Buckley. There's a lot of jostling around through turns 3 and 4. I'm not sure where that contact initially came from, but you see Fred Leclerc going hard into the outside wall. That collected Rex Hoyle, and right behind was Jeff Aho. So, yeah, definitely a couple of drivers who had really good nights going. That's going to be over for them.
Well, are we done with cautions yet? I don't know. But he had an amazing restart on the outside, and that's not what Bianchi needed. He needed Bianchi needed Buckley to fall back a little bit. They were side by side going through 1 and 2. Bianchi had nowhere to go, tires or not.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about getting another chance at a restart, because all of the mistakes that you made on that first restart, you get a chance to correct those. You know what to look for. You've got an idea of what you need to do better than you had before, and I think that's going to come into play. I believe you're going to see that inside line go better this time around.
So last time Bianchi had Fred Leclerc to his outside. This time he's going to have Baby Stout out there. So it's Eric Stout and Joshua Buckley in the front row, Brian Bianchi, Patrick Stout in row 2. Never say die. Brian Neff back in 5th. He's got some stuff. If they were to get together and lose momentum, Neff can put that 60 wherever he wants. He might find a hole. See if he can vulture one.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we know about the Red Light Racing League is that late in the races, a lot of contact can happen at the very front. So definitely, if you're in 5th, 6th, 7th place, that does not mean that you're out of it. You've got to be there. You've got to have that opportunity. But put yourself in a good position, and you just might get that opportunity to be up front at the end.
And you never want to be the guy who turns somebody, but let's be honest, it's a little easier to be aggressive when so late in the season and the championships are pretty much decided here. You're not going to cost anybody anything really serious. This will be fun. A green-white checker. You know how that works. The pace car pulls down in. Last time, Buckley had a great start on the outside and really made Eric Stout work for it. Let's see if it happens again. He does. The 13 gets a really good start. They go into 1 and 2. Now the inside starts to pull away, but Buckley with momentum. Bianchi now gets to the inside. He's got a shot. He can clear Buckley. Now Bianchi has 1 lap to get it done. This is what he thought. They come out of corner number 4. Maybe 2 more shots at it. Going into 1, going into 3. Eric Stout looking to pick up another win. He's got the championship secured, but can he get the win? There he is, Brian Bianchi in second. The 14 now gets a good run off of 2, loses a little bit. Is he going to dive it in deep? Is he going to force the issue? He takes it in. He's a half car length back. He's a quarter car length back, but he's running out of time. One more time this season, the win goes to Teapot. Eric Stout. Brian Bianchi couldn't get it in a lap to settle for second. Granny Hips Josh Buckley gets third. Woo, Nelly, that was a good one. We're glad you're with us. The racing is over. Our broadcast is now. We'll take a short break, come back and run down the entire finishing order before we talk to some of the drivers and put a lock on the gate. You're watching the Virtual Gift Network. Streaming cyberspace into your place. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network. We're coming to you from Stafford Motor Speedway, where we're bringing you the penultimate round coverage of the Skitter Modified Series Season 14. The results are in. Let's give them to you right now. Well, he started in the second position. He raced up front the whole time. He picks up yet another win this season. We're talking about the man on the way to his third championship, Eric Teapot Stout. Brian Bianchi had new tires and gave him a run, but didn't have enough time. Maybe a couple more laps, he would have been able to get there. He'll have to settle for second. Granny Hips Josh Buckley, even though he got bumped around a lot, he was able to salvage a third position. Younger brother Patrick Stout comes home in fourth, with Brian Neff a respectable fifth as he comes all the way from 16th. Back after your top 10, Bradley Steffen, Ethan Troutman, Bill Benedict, Luke Logan Allen, and Chris Oliver. JR?
Yeah, coming home in 11th place tonight, we got Bob Higgins, Doyle Lowrance. He'll come home in 12th place. Bruce Pearson, 13th. Ken Allen, the last driver on the lead lap. He'll come home in 14th place. Then we get to some of those drivers collected late. Jeff Aho, 1 lap down in 15th. Rex Hoyle will come home 4 laps down in 16th place. Fred Leclerc, 17th place. Devin Visnaw, he'll come home in 18th. Chad Alcaraz, 19th. And Chris Hazlip, he'll come home in 20th.
With that said, let's see if we can dial up our race winner here today. We'll talk to Eric Stout. Teapot, congratulations. You picked up, let's see here, I think that is your 6th win of the season. I'll have to double check on that one. Well done.
Thank you, sir. That was pretty fun. I'll admit I was a little disappointed that Jeff and I didn't get a chance to race the full 100 again. I think it was the early race last season because we came to Stafford twice. He and I were nose to tail for 100 laps, and it was a great show. I thought that we were going to end up with a similar race tonight after we had that kind of long run, but he made the one bobble. I was going to pressure him. I wasn't going to go too crazy. I obviously want to win. Home track, if you will, as a Connecticut boy. Always want to represent it at Stafford. It's a big deal for us and the league, and so I was going to pressure Jeff, but I was going to obviously try not to do anything stupid, and then he just made that one little mistake, and I was able to get underneath him, and that was kind of that.
Well, you had a plethora of drivers chase you. If it wasn't Jeff Aho, you had Bianchi at the end there. Buckley was behind you for a long time. Your little brother Patrick was giving you a run.
Yeah, I was a little nervous when we got into the green-white checker, because just anything happened. But I realized a couple of weeks ago that you were unaware that Josh and I are teammates this season. He joined the Six Strings Racing camp at the beginning of this season, and so I think that we've helped each other, continue to get better. And because at the Langley race, obviously, I was racing him hard, but we were talking during the cautions there, and strategizing and how to make sure that he held on to that win. Tonight, there was something going on with my audio. I wasn't able to talk with him, but I was going to race him clean, obviously, not do anything dirty or run him too far up the track. And I was actually pretty thrilled on the first restart before it was officially a green-white checker. He was able to slide into second, and I was pretty pumped because I thought we were going to end up with a 1-2, or I thought me and Patrick might end up with a 1-2 there for a little bit as well. But overall, happy to take down the 6th win of the season. It's been a great season on the track. It's been kind of an odd season off the track with some life changes and new work situation happening. So I'm glad that I've been able to still come out on Thursday nights and have fun and perform well. Really happy that Josh had a great run tonight, and I think is going to be fighting for a top 5 in the points after a couple rough runs. Patrick had another strong night, so proud of our team. Happy for the season that I've had, and happy to go into Smyrna next week. Maybe with a cocktail in my hand and just ride around and enjoy it. But that's all I got. We're on to Smyrna.
Been a good one. Congratulations. See you down the road.
Thanks, Soup. See you next week.
Eric Stout, your winner tonight, on the way to his third championship. JR, who you got?
Yeah, I'm with Brian Bianchi. He's our second place finisher tonight. So congratulations, Brian. But I want to take you throughout this race and ask you just how tough was it out there tonight? We know the track temp was up. We know that you came down and got tires near the halfway point. How did that help you with being able to make passes? And just how tough was it even though you still had tires?
Yeah, pretty tough. I was just talking with Josh Buckley in the other room, and I don't think the tires made much difference, honestly. Maybe helped me the first 5 or 10 laps, but I think it evened off.
Now I want to take you back to that last restart. So we saw a couple of late restarts occur out there. What did you learn from that second to last restart that you were able to apply? Because we speculate, hey, that's an opportunity. Like if you made any mistakes or you saw the drivers around you do something that you weren't expecting, having another shot at it, that's a big opportunity.
Yeah, that first restart, I didn't shift on time, so I lost a little time, and that's how Buckley got back down. But I didn't make that mistake the second one, but I just couldn't get close enough to Eric to make anything happen. I threw it into one pretty hard, but just not enough time.
Yeah, we were really hoping to have a longer run there at the end. We definitely thought you'd have an opportunity. I know throughout this season you've not ran all of the races. Want to ask you, are you going to be with us next week on that last race of the season at New Smyrna?
Yep, I'll be there, 150 at Smyrna. Sure, that should be a good time. That place is always fun, and with the extra distance, should be even better.
Yeah, definitely a track where I think you can make some passes at, man. Congratulations, finishing second tonight, and hopefully next week we get to talk to you a little bit more up in the booth.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that was Brian Bianchi. He was our second place finisher tonight. Soup, who you got?
I got Josh Buckley. And Josh, I just heard some discouraging news. You've gone over to the dark side and become a teammate of Eric Stout. Is that true? Say it in so, Joe.
It's been that way all season.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't know that. I would have had a hard time sleeping all this season long. So sometimes news is best delivered late. Hey, nice run tonight. Just didn't have enough to get it.
Yeah, no, Eric obviously had it kind of figured out. He was pretty much just gapping and just maintaining the gap, saving his stuff. Just tried to hold off Brian there. Obviously didn't need that caution at the end. Was able to, get in front of Brian there on that first restart, but that second one he just had it better than me on there. Just hard to restart on the outside there and try to keep that second spot.
The Stout boys and you were the only 3 drivers that didn't come in for rubber. Is that something that you plan to do from the very beginning, or did it just play out that way?
For me, it kind of played out that way. I'm pretty sure Eric and Patrick are probably playing the thing. If they're up towards the front, might as well stay out. That's pretty much what my idea was once I got up there. But typical me, and I know we were talking about this with the race a few days ago, I was eyeballing around lap 70, depending on where I was in the field. That's where I was looking at for right sides.
We'll talk more about this next week, as we'll always talk to the series organizers on the season finale. But as far as the way that the series has played out this season, you happy with it?
Yeah, I'd like to see it a little cleaner than it has been throughout the season, but I think we've had some pretty decent races that show really the skill of the guys that we have here. It is short track racing, wrecks happen, so I can't complain too much. It could be worse, but definitely some areas to improve for sure.
Baby, trust me, I do a lot of broadcasting. It could be worse. You have a pretty good league going on so far. Well done. We'll see you down the road to the season finale. Well done.
Appreciate it, guys.
Josh Buckley, season organizer, finishing third and well up in the points. Maybe get a podium in those points. We'll see how it plays out. It'll be fun to see. The championship is secured, but who gets second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth? We'll find out. We'll run it to you at the end of next week. All right, with that said, this broadcast is just about done. You see where we're going to be next time. Look at all those places we're going. You pick out the one you want to watch. Hopefully, you'll watch all 7 of them. Each one of those broadcasts is a production of the Virtual Grip Network. With that said, on behalf of all the little faces you see there on the screen that make this possible, on their behalf, I'd like to say thank you for watching. If you didn't enjoy it, we'll try to do better next time. Until then, have fun storming the castle.